All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's talk about this. Okay, so the media is in an uproar because President Trump went and honored the fallen 13 soldiers at Arlington. This was last week. It's still a big headline because the media is making a huge deal out of this because they got nothing else to go, try and put against the guy. Now, look, they said a lot of stuff about how it was against the federal laws of the cemetery, and he shouldn't have been there. And it was just a political photo op for him to be there to try and gain favor among vets. I guess I don't know. Look, let's not forget that if this was the other way around, if this was Democrats, say for some reason unknown to me that Kamala and Kamala and Joe Biden for some reason were able to get over there, which they were invited to. It wasn't just Trump. They were invited, okay, to go to the ceremony for these fallen soldiers. And they didn't show up. And then President Trump did. He was invited by the families, okay? I don't think all of them, but a majority of the families were pleased to see him there. And there's CNN and Dana Bash had an interview with Tulsi Gabbard about the whole thing, and Tulsi tore her to shreds because, Dana wasn't facing off with Kamala and in a friendly interview. So it didn't go very well for old Bash over there. But anyway, um, like I said, if the shoe was on the other foot, the the liberal news media would be praising Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They would be. I have no doubt in my mind about that. They'd be praising them, saying how wonderful it was for them to be there and show their support to the families and blah 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 blah. But they weren't. President Trump showed up, and now there's a rumor going around that he got into a fight with the staff there, and it was mayhem. And how could he do this? But he was invited to go there, and it was very solemn. It was very respectful. Now, there's been all kinds of ceremonies at Arlington that have been videoed and then put out there. Okay, it's not just President Trump that's done this; it's other leaders that have done it too. So I don't see the big deal. He's there paying his respects to the families. The Gold Star families who were there that invited him there, it was very respectful, and I'm a veteran. I didn't have a problem with it. I've never been to Arlington. I don't know the rules that they have there. I don't know what federal rules that they have that you cannot have a video in there. You can't have a camera in certain spots of it. But as far as I understand it, he got invited there, and then the family asked him if he would take a picture with them. So, and he obliged. So I don't. What's the problem? What's the problem? Nothing. Nothing's the problem. They just have to attack him on anything that they can. The statement that Kamala Harris put out on her ex was just disgusting because she can't even be bothered to go over there. She hasn't said one word about these fallen service members that since they abandoned Afghanistan. Nothing. She can't be bothered with it. Neither can Joe Biden, because they know that their withdrawal from Afghanistan was botched and terrible and should never have gone down that way. Anyway, let's take a look at a couple of these clips. I want to show you first a couple of the clips from the Gold Star families that they're upset about the liberal news media throwing this out this like they are. They're not happy about it. And they're not happy with Kamala Harris. And rightfully so. She hasn't done anything to help them, not a single phone call, nothing. So I can understand why they're upset about it. But I want to show you a couple clips here from that. You can let me know. I mean, Am I in the wrong? I don't think I am. I don't, like I said, I don't see a problem with what he did, how he did it. He was respectful. I thought it was very respectful. And yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. But let's take a look at a couple of these clips here, and you can tell me. Let's see. Get that over.
Family members of some of the 13 service members lost took time out of their Labor Day weekends to respond to that post. Here's what they had to say.
Vice President Harris, my name is Steve Nakui. I'm the father of Lance Corporal Kareem M. Nakui. And your administration killed my son.
It's been 3 years since my son was killed in action, and myself, my family, and other Gold Star families have not seen any support from you or your administration.
Your recent remarks related to Trump's visit to Arlington are filled with nothing but lies and deceit.
Vice President Harris, I ask you, why won't you return a call and explain to us how you call my daughter-in-law's death a success?
You have 13 families who have been waiting over 3 years to so much as get a phone call, to so much as hear our kids' names.
Let me be clear. There was no politics discussed, none whatsoever. There was also not an assault that we observed take place, or did we hear it? I don't know where this is coming from, but it's disgusting and gross.
All right, that was from Fox News, the Outnumbered show. But look, I'm just what? I mean, they're all right. I agree with every single one of them, especially that poor woman. I can't even imagine. Look, she was right. She called it a success. She said she was the last one in the room, and she stands by her decisions, and she called the withdrawal from Afghanistan a success. But you lost 13 service members that you won't even acknowledge. Like they said, not even a phone call, nothing from this administration. The Harris-Biden administration, because Joe Biden made his way back to the White House today after the last 2 weeks of being on vacation again. So I wouldn't be surprised if he took off again tomorrow for another vacation. He's not doing nothing. Nobody's leading this country right now. Anyway, it's disgusting the way that they're coming after him. And the other guy said, there was no kind of altercation, no assault that they knew of. They didn't hear nothing. They didn't see nothing. So wherever they're getting that information from, who knows? I don't. Probably just lies like everything else. Anyway, let's take a look at this next one. This is from, let me double check here. This is from, oh, that's not it. Let's see here. Okay, this is from Newsmax. This is from their X. And we'll take a look at this one too, because this is just another, it's just another video clips put together of them, the families that are, this is a little more to this one though. So let's check this one out.
After Trump for going to Arlington this week, and damn, did the Gold Star families hit back. I want to play a full minute of this because honestly, this brought me to my knees.
You failed for 3 years and 8 months to acknowledge our kids.
Where were you and Joe Biden on August 26, 2024? Nowhere near Arlington Cemetery. You couldn't be bothered to be with us or even say our kids' names, just as you had done for the last 3 years.
Vice President Harris, I ask you, why won't you return a call and explain to us how you call my daughter-in-law's death a success? President Trump has called. President Trump shows up. President Trump takes the time to hear our loved ones' stories.
We invited him to be there.
These are the only memories we get to make with our son, and it is you who is playing politics and trying to detract from our memories made that day.
President Trump has been there for us. He's been a rock for us. He showed compassion for us, and he showed he truly cares for the families that truly do know what the ultimate sacrifice really is.
All right. Now, that's just another one there that they're not happy. And rightfully so. Cuz like I said before, what has she done to honor and commemorate these fallen soldiers that lost their lives during their god-awful withdrawal from Afghanistan? It's just the level of them not caring about anything and still expecting to get, stay in power. It's insane. But there's a lot of people out there that fall for all the lies and stuff. Everything that comes out of Kamala's house, everything come out of her mouth is a lie. And I've said it before. She thinks the people that are voting for, she thinks you're stupid. And rightfully so, because she's still leading in the polls. But on that note, though, she's leading in the polls, but she hasn't received any kind of bump. Not from the DNC, which historically you gain a bump from that in the polling. Same thing after her very first interview, if you want to call it that. It was another train wreck. But she still didn't receive a bump from that either. She's still barely beating President Trump in the polling right now. And I know a lot of people that polls don't really say a whole lot. Yes and no. I mean, I can see both sides of it, but I always take the polls as like this. It's always going to favor Democrats. It always has. Every single poll ever has always favored Democrats. So if a Republican is up in the polls, they're up by a lot more than what the polls are actually saying. And if a Democrat is up in the polls, I just kind of figure it as, 5 points kind of leeway type thing. If they're up by more than 5 points, I know they're starting to pull away with it. But if it's within 5 points, like I said, polls lean heavy towards Democrats. So I take that into consideration when I'm looking at the polls, and just know that anywhere within that 5 points, it could easily swing 5 points the other direction. Because like I said, polls historically favor the Democrat side. So that's how I look at it. But anyway. Gosh. Now, Tulsi Gabbard went on CNN with Dana Bash. Yes, that one. The same one that did the interview with Kamala Harris and her lapdog, Tim Walz, which I still don't understand why he was there. Yeah, I know. My last video I covered it. I didn't do the clip where he covered his defending his, stolen valor comments. But I didn't think it was noteworthy, because other than that, he just kind of sat there and didn't say nothing. It's kind of an emotional watchdog, as it were, I guess, for Kamala. But anyway, Tulsi went on to CNN with Dana Bash, and Dana Bash asked her about all this, with the Arlington Cemetery and the Gold Star families. And Tulsi kind of gave it to her. I mean, yeah. But anyway, let me bring this over. I'm going to move myself out the way a little more, though. There we go. We'll check this out real quick.
I do want to move on to what is happening with regard to controversy after the former president visited Arlington National Cemetery this week. His campaign took photos and video of him in Section 60, where veterans of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are buried, used it in a campaign video. The Army also says that Trump staffers.
Okay, like I said before, I'm not sure. I haven't. I know I'm a veteran, but I've never been to Arlington. Okay, I don't know their rules and their regulations, and I don't know what sections are what. But she said Section 60 aren't allowed to have cameras and whatnot. But the way I understood it is he had permission to do it. So I still don't, like I said, it was still respectful. So I still don't see a problem with it. Tell me if I'm wrong. I thought it was fine. I thought it was respectful, and I thought it was great that an actual leader takes the time out of his busy schedule, because you know the guy's busy campaigning and everything else. He takes the time out of his busy schedule to go and mourn with the families of those fallen soldiers.
Abruptly pushed aside a cemetery official who tried to enforce Arlington's rule.
Okay, we just covered that. I don't know where they're getting that from. Even the people that were there said that that's not true. So,
rules prohibiting political activities. I know you were with Trump at least earlier in that day at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Did you witness the altercation at Section 60?
I was there from the beginning with the laying of the wreaths with the family members, the Gold Star family members, and some of the survivors of that terrorist attack in that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. I was with them at Section 60, and what I saw was a very grave and somber remembrance and honoring of those lives that were lost. And I saw President Trump spending time at the invitation of these Gold Star families with them. He was there for a few hours. I did not see or hear about any kind of altercation until something came out in the news later on. The families were there grieving alongside President Trump, and it was a very special moment to really remember their names, remember their memories, and understand the true cost of war and the consequences of the decisions that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden made in the execution of that withdrawal.
Yeah, and it is very clear that the former president was invited in his personal capacity, as you said, by a family.
Not a family. Several of the families invited him, not just a.
Of one of the service members who was killed about 2 years ago during the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
It was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago to the day on August 26th.
Yes, 3 years ago. The question is about the federal law and Arlington's rules that prohibit partisan or political activities at national cemeteries. And the military and also other members of other families who are buried right near there are upset about the campaign filming it and posting the video.
Let me ask you something. I haven't seen it. I have not seen a single post, video, anything. Nothing on the TikToks. I haven't seen anything about somebody being one of the other fallen soldiers that are there. One of their family members being upset that Trump was there. I haven't seen it. Let me know. Send me a link, something, because I haven't seen it. I don't know about that.
Online. Do you believe that was appropriate?
I checked with the campaign on this question, and they have exchanges with the officials at Arlington Cemetery. They were approved to bring a camera there to document this historic and momentous day that should not be forgotten by any American. And to have a former president there and joining these Gold Star families, I know President Trump wanted to share that with others, especially given the fact that President Biden and Harris, I heard, were invited by some of these family members.
That's what I've heard too.
They didn't even respond to that invitation, and now to have Kamala Harris.
And let's just to be. This is my opinion. Okay. I really think that if President Trump didn't go there wouldn't be no news coverage on this at all, because the Harris-Biden administration, they want this forgotten. They don't want people to remember this. They don't. They don't want people to remember that terrible, terrible withdrawal from Afghanistan. They don't. The only reason because they can spin it, and they're putting on President Trump saying that he was terrible for doing his things and posting it online. So Harris is twisting it around, saying that he was disrespectful and there was an altercation and he had no right to video it. And why not? Why not? Why can't people see that President Trump is respectful to the troops and their families? And because I haven't seen anything that says otherwise. I've heard all the lies from the left, and I've seen it all debunked. So why not let people know that he is respectful and he does support our troops? Why not? Why? Because the left doesn't want anything positive for President Trump to come out. They don't. That's why they're twisting this, turning it around, and trying to make it look like a bad thing that he did. That's why. That's it. That's it. Because I guarantee, like I said before, if this was Harris that had gone over there and done the same thing, even though if she had been respectful and conducted herself the way that President Trump had done, I would, you know what? Bravo. I give her props on that. But she don't even care. So
Harris put this statement out yesterday saying that she stands with these families, she stands with the military and
No,
with
she
veterans.
doesn't.
You only have to look at the response that came from the Gold Star families of these 13 service members, of how offended they were by that statement, given she has not made any effort, not on that 3rd anniversary or any other time, to call them directly to offer her condolences and even apologies for their decisions that led to the loss of their loved ones.
Do you think that the campaign will release that communication that you're talking about? Because the Army is saying very clearly that they broke the rules because it was clearly put out.
Who said that?
Online, pictures, video.
She said the Army? Because
part of his
I haven't seen it. The only place I've ever seen them saying anything about President Trump breaking the rules is on the left-wing media establishment. That's it. That's the only place I've seen it. I haven't seen a statement from the Army, nothing.
I thought they already had. I was informed that they had come to an agreement. They could bring a camera there. And as far as I know, and the public statements I've seen from the Army, is that the matter is closed.
I think the matter is closed about the alleged altercation, which you didn't see, but I'm not sure it's closed with the idea that
she's grasping at straws.
Seem to have broken the rules and perhaps even federal law by putting out the campaign video. I want to ask you about.
I just like to say one last thing on this, because I think it's important, and I've seen a lot of the headlines and the stories and the concerns that people are raising about this. But to me, as a soldier and as someone who has been deployed to different war zones in the world, and I have friends who are buried there at Section 60, what is more outrageous to me is that there wasn't universal coverage of the momentous day of the 3rd anniversary of the loss of these 13 Gold Star families, and the outrage that they feel that their loved ones are not getting the kind of coverage and memory that their great sacrifice deserves.
See, that's what I said. Why isn't there more coverage? I said it. If President Trump didn't go there, then nobody would hear anything about it. Nothing. Not a whisper, not a peep. But because President Trump went there, just for that reason, I'm glad that he did. Because it lets people remember this terrible act that the Harris and Biden administration did, pulling out of that country and just leaving billions of dollars in weapons and vehicles, ammunition, everything. 13 service members killed. I mean, we all saw the picture. There was people hanging on to the wheels on the aircraft as it was taking off, dropping to their death because they were afraid of the state of that country going to after we withdrew. And the way we withdrew was just god awful. It was a terrible, terrible thing, and should have never happened that way. And President Trump has come out and said it a bunch of times on his campaign trail, saying that he was gonna pull out, but he wasn't gonna abandon Bagram. He would have pulled the military out last instead of first, and he would have done it the right way. The way that the Harris and Biden administration pulled out, it was like the last 20 plus years that we were there was worthless. That's what it seems like to me. And I'm a veteran, okay? It makes me feel like the time that we spent there wasn't worth a damn.
That is what everyone should be outraged about.
Well, yeah, we have covered the horrible, horrible events 3 years ago and have done so several times, over and over again. So I appreciate you all done so events 3 years ago and have done so several times, over and over again. So I appreciate you also talking about their memories, because
No, she's not. She's not appreciative. She doesn't. She's not happy that she brought that. Like I said, they want to memory hole that. They don't want to bring it up. Don't forget, she's a shield for the Democrats. She don't. She's not happy about that. Look at her fumbling over her words. I don't believe that for a nanosecond.
It is important. Before you go, you said in an interview this week that you were interested in serving in a Trump administration, potentially as Secretary of State, maybe Secretary of Defense. Have you discussed that with Donald Trump directly?
No, I haven't. It's important for us right now to point out the difference between Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump, what kind of president and commander-in-chief they would be. And really the leading concern that I have is about this, about the contrast between their positions and their records, and the fact that as we sit here today, President Biden and Kamala Harris have us embroiled in wars in 3 different regions of the world, have us closer to the brink of World War III and nuclear war now than ever before, according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. And this should be of concern not just to Republicans and Democrats, it should be a concern to all Americans, because what's at question is our ability to have a future and to live in a free society where we can be peaceful and prosperous. This is personal for me, as it should be personal for all Americans.
For everybody.
Because it is our future that's on the line here in this decision that we as voters have to make about who we want our commander-in-chief to be.
Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Okay, look, I think Tulsi took her to school, but anyway, she's like I said, she's not happy that Tulsi brought that up. She's not. And look, I said it a bunch, it's hard to, for everything that there's a lot of stuff that President Trump does that not everybody's going to agree with. I know there's a whole debate about his first or his pro-life issues. I'm pro-life, and a lot of people are just straight pro-life if he doesn't do a national, come out and say he's going to do a national abortion ban, then they're not going to vote for him. I don't think that's right. Because you think about it this way. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they want abortion all the way up to and including birth. It's how it is in Minnesota. It's how it is in California. Both of those are their states. So, you want President Trump, who's actually, he is pro-life. He just, he's come out and said safe, legal, and rare. And I think he should just leave the abortion thing alone and he's already kicked it back to the states. Well, the Supreme Court has kicked it back to the states, and it's on the states on whether or not they want to. It's on them. It's in the people's hands now. So anyway, I find that Kamala Harris is twisting this and trying to gain a little edge in the polls because she didn't see any kind of boost over the DNC nor through her first interview. And actually the trending thing, like in the betting polls, like if you were going to go bet somewhere, it's actually favoring Trump now again. So, it favored Harris when she first come out, and she, when they threw Biden off the ship and announced that Kamala was going to be the candidate, it started trending. If you were going to go to in some of the betting sites, it was trending towards Kamala. But now after the DNC and this terrible first interview that she did, if you can call it that, it's got Trump up a little bit now, and he's trending upwards in there. So, not in the polls, but in the betting world, as it were, it's got Trump favored to win again now. So, I don't know. It's getting crazy. I don't expect it to get any better. It's just going to get crazier and crazier. The closer we get to November 5th, And early voting starts here real soon. I want to say 2 weeks in Pennsylvania is when it starts. So it's ramping up. It's ramping up. But hey, let me know what you think. I'll take a look. But that's my thoughts on it. I appreciate you hanging out. Hope y'all have a beautiful, beautiful night.